So the question we want to tackle today on the podcast is, what can you do to increase your coachability? You have written a good deal about the importance of this behavior and how it changes a person's attitude. What are some behaviors people can use that would help them to be more coachable? One that you've talked about is asking for feedback. The single most powerful thing you can do is to sincerely ask for feedback from your colleagues, especially your boss. I think showing that you are open to feedback is so important for coachability, but you asking for it also gives you the power of the timing of the feedback. And I have an experience that goes with this, a very vivid one, example that happened very recently. Last week, we had a flood in our house. And in a few days, we were going to have guests coming to stay at our house. So we spent so long drying it all out. And my husband stayed up till 4 a.m. replacing the drywall he cut out to fix the leak and to dry it all out. So the next day, he was exhausted and defeated and just so tired. And I said to him, I'm curious if you really needed to cut out that much drywall. And he turned to me and said, now is not the time for any feedback on this project. So sometimes at work, we have our own raw moments, like right after you finish this huge project or presentation, and someone wants to give you tons of feedback and you just can't process any feedback at that moment. But in a few hours or days, you would love to hear it and analyze it. So tell your boss or colleague that you're open to feedback, and you can share your preference for when it would be helpful.
Absolutely. And asking for feedback has multiple advantages. Yes, you have some impact on the timing and also control the scope, whether it's very narrow or broad in general. As your husband was repairing the hole in the drywall, he probably was painfully aware that the larger the hole, the greater the time it required to repair it.
Yeah.
Anyway, the second thing I've written about is ensure that you understand the feedback. And by this, I mean not only do you understand the specific content of the message, but it's also important that you understand its seriousness. I heard a manager suggest to a subordinate who had just finished a presentation, and only the three of us were in the room. The manager said, I wonder if you'd like some feedback sometime. I've got a couple of suggestions. The presenter kind of hesitated, and I could sense that she wasn't really sure she wanted feedback. But the manager went on to say, you made your point really well. I think everyone was in agreement. Next time you do this, avoid using a tan-colored marker. It's really hard to read. And it always helps to tell some stories. That would make it even better. There was no Barb in this conversation, nothing in the manager's tone to even hint that this was serious. Be sure you understand the seriousness of the message. It could be a casual suggestion, or it could be something that's career limiting. Make certain you know which. If you're uncertain about the exact meaning of the feedback, ask for examples that will illustrate the message.